Hello and welcome to The Week That Was, a weekly program on which we review the headlines of the week. To discuss these headlines this week from the newspaper Herald, I have with me the group editor Mr. Sujay Gupta of Herald Publications. This week we review the headlines from 22nd to 29 June from the Herald. On 22nd of June, we have the headline, the government appointed CAs unearthed only 1,000 crore rupees mining loss to the state exchequer when the Shah Commission had estimated the loss to be 35,000 crores.
See, the interesting part is that even this 1,000 crores that they have unearthed, I'm not comparing this 1,000 crores with 35,000 crores, though that is the figure which the Shah Commission did. I'm comparing this 1,000 crores to a figure which is 3,431 crores. And I'll tell you how that figure arrived at. See, look, there were two basic inquiries into mining irregularities. One was the CAG inquiry. One was an inquiry conducted by a team of experts which went into several irregularities. Now, this particular team was constituted consisting of CAs. So, it was a CA team, a team of chartered accountants. Now, this team of chartered accountants were constituted by the court, by the Supreme Court, and they essentially said that this team is going to go into all the leases and do a proper inquiry to assess the quantum of loss. Now, if you add the figures of the chartered accountants report and the Comptroller and Auditor General's report, if you add both the amounts of the mining losses, it comes to the tune of exactly 3,431 crores. Okay. This is the amount that the government of Goa has mentioned to the Supreme Court. When they gave the notice to the different mining companies, they gave a notice of only 300 crores instead of 3,431 crores. Out of the 300 crores, the recovery on that is a very paltry 100 crores. So I'm not even looking at the humongous Mount Everest of the figure of 35,000 crores. I'm looking at a small peak like Kanchenjunga. Okay, I'm saying you look at 3,431 crores. You're not even climbing the Kanchenjunga peak. You're basically climbing a little hillock. That is my point. That you need to scale such a huge peak to recover losses. You are only doing a small trek and not even fulfilling that. That's my point.
Okay. On 23rd of June, we have this headline in the Herald. And this is in the context of the land grabbing cases and the inquiry which has been initiated by the government. So the headline says, for 1 year, Fatorda police sat on FIR against 17 land grabbers, and now they are set to move the SIT. We also have other stories that were done in the Herald this week. Specifically on Monday, we have one story about Asagaon property which was grabbed and sold twice, once to the husband and then to the wife, 20 years apart.
Correct. So the point is, see, there are different characters, and unfortunately all of them Goans, who form this whole gang. They basically transfer properties without the original owner knowing from them to this gang, one member of the gang. And then this gang ultimately controls all these properties, and this in turn sell it to third parties. Third party could be a builder from Delhi, could be somebody from wherever and all that. So that might happen. Now the interesting part here is that there is this woman in this particular case, in the Asagaon case. This woman, I think her name is Branka Diniz, if I'm not mistaken. Now Branka Diniz, what she did was, she first transfers the land from one old man to the mother of X. 20 years later, she transfers the land from that person to the father of X. Okay, and who's the X? X is Branka Diniz herself. Okay, so basically what she does is she's grabbing a property, transferring it first in the name of the husband, then transferring it in the name of the wife, and then invariably the property comes under their control. Once it comes under their overall control, they in turn decide to send it to different people. So this is the modus operandi of all. Interestingly, in this Asagaon case, the same people, I think there'll be another person, there'll be about 2 or 3 names that we mentioned, okay, along with the one that I just mentioned. All of them, at least 3 of them in the Asagaon case, are also booked in another case that we reported first. So it just shows the same culprits are coming up, names are coming up in different cases.
Now, in this case, the big question which hangs over the investigation is that the cases are being handed over for investigation to the crime branch, which is actually basically Goa police. And earlier there are instances where the cases have been filed before the Goa police and they have not acted.
So yes, I think what happens is transferring it into the crime branch or the special investigative team is a sign of purported intent. It is not a sign that this is going to be effective and all the cases are going to be solved. Because as you said, and I agree with you, it's just that in all these years, these were all police cases, and the police did not act upon them. Neither the police, nor did the civic authorities, nor did the registrars, or even the courts, of course, take a long time. So none of these cases were acted upon. And now what is happening is that every police station, they are in this whole literal spree to club all the cases and send them out to the crime branch as soon as possible. Okay. Now so obviously all the police stations are heaving a sigh of relief that we don't have to touch these cases. So, and they are just literally kind of packing them in like packers and movers, sending them, the first post out straight to the crime branch. Now, crime branch itself, if it starts receiving so many cases from different police stations, will it have the power to even go ahead and the power and the manpower? Sorry, will it have the manpower to actually solve these cases? You can increase the size of the sit to 21 members, 31 members, 40 members, but it all depends on what kind of people you're putting. You need to have clean people with no vested interest there also to the investigation. So I think what is important is that the investigator who is investigating these cases has to come there with clean hands. And are all the investigators coming there with clean hands? That is the question.
So the story continues on Saturday also, that SIT begins to tighten its noose and then make a third arrest, and so we are following these cases. Now on that same day, on 25th June, Saturday, we have this gruesome killing. A former under-19 India cricket team strength coach was arrested for killing a college teacher in Kolli.
Yes, again, this is one of the most, the saddest and an extremely shocking case, where this guy Gaurav Bidre, who was incidentally the under-19 coach, strength coach of the Indian team, he also happened to train the ATS commando team of the Goa police 1 month before he committed this act. So it just shows that there was this killer lurking around somewhere. He says it happened because of unrequited passion, and the fact that he was after this girl and she did not respond, and it was that. Whatever be the case, nothing justifies this kind of criminality of such a gruesome nature, because at the end of the day, what do you have? You have parents who lose their daughter, you have brothers who lose their sister, you have friends who lose their loved ones, you have teachers, you have students, because this girl who got killed was a very bright and a very intelligent and a very well-read scholar who had a whole future ahead of her.
And she was supposed to leave
for Serbia
to present a paper.
On the day that she was killed, I think on the Saturday, on the day she was killed
on Friday.
On Friday. On Saturday she was supposed to leave for Serbia en route to Bombay and then to Serbia to present a research paper. So she was actually one of the up and coming jewels of Goa in the education and the academic sector. So, but irrespective of that, I'm just saying this is the background. But nothing justifies a murder of this nature. It just shows that at the end of the day, these kind of crimes are really rising. It's a reflection more on our society. I wouldn't say it's a reflection on Goa as it were, but more on what our society has become. And it's extremely sad. But we just hope the accused doesn't get away and is made to pay for his sins.
On Sunday we have this headline, very shocking news again, of one of the jewels of the Goan theatre, Mario Menezes, and Herald uses this thank you theatre which he had presented. Thank you, Mario, for being among Goa's finest jewels. Tragedy king of the Konkani stage leaves the world stage.
Yes, at the end of the day, you see, Mario's passing has sent another strong message to all of us. I'm not equipped to talk about the greatness of Mario. There are many people who've done it. We have only very humbly reflected those thoughts and put it out in our videos, in our stories. We've paid tribute to what Mario is, and obviously we have used all our platforms to essentially showcase or highlight what he was. But most important is that when a theatrist, and what the Herald did was we played it up like no other newspaper we ever did. In fact, we put out the entire poster of his last play called Thank You, and that was a lead picture of the day, and we did that. The reason we did that is also to send the message that the theatre and the drama community, it is a very, very close-knit and a very strong community of messengers. There are very strong community of messengers who actually lay out a lot of issues that are intrinsic to Goa in a manner which is very, very enduring and very powerful. And what Herald has always done is to basically reflect that. It is also time for the state and the system to ponder that these are the best brand ambassadors. They are our better brand ambassadors than any tourism website or any particular marketing company would be. Because they are the core of Goa. They very essence. And the reaction that we got to Mario's passing and to our coverage made us absolutely believe that there are a lot of sentiments and emotions and feelings that every Goan has, Goan has with the community of theatrists. And I think that is something reflected. In fact, as we speak now, as we are recording this, I think his funeral has just started, and there are people who have lined up there. There's going to be a massive funeral, and so many people have lined up from all walks of life, common people, other people. I'm getting reports that many people have gone there to pay the last tributes to Mario, and may his soul rest in peace. And we leave it at that.
On Tuesday, June the 28th, we have a headline, and this is rather surprising, that the CM declares that old assembly records from the previous building were lost forever. And he adds very confidently that the speeches of Dayanand Bandodkar and other stalwarts who walked that legislature, who sat and discussed and debated about Goa's fortunes in the early stages, this has been lost for posterity.
See, from what the Honorable CM said and what we found and reported, I can only come to the conclusion that there can be two things. One is that the CM was grossly unaware, and he made the statement based on a very wrong briefing. That's one. I wouldn't like to go as far as to say that the CM willingly said this for no rhyme or reason. That'll be too much to say. But there has obviously been some error of communication somewhere. Perhaps the CM meant that all the audio tapes are gone and the audio versions of these recordings are gone and they need to be retrieved, because he did say that we are talking to All India Radio. So there is still a lot of confusion, because I'll tell you what the fact is. The fact is that no records have been destroyed. All the records exist. And this has been further been confirmed by the Secretary of the Legislature, who is with Namrata Ulman, who's told us that, look, these records are there. All videos, all documents, even audio cassettes, they are there. Some may have been worn out, but they can be revived again. So the issue is that all the documentation exists. Now that comes to a larger question here as to why would the CM say that? Maybe he must be saying it out of concern. But my point is that concern, valid or not valid? We need to look into this. Because when a Chief Minister of the state says all the records from January 9th, 1964, because that is the first day the assembly met. The first assembly of Goa after liberation met on January 9th, 1964, under Dayanand Bandodkar's Chief Minister. Now till 1964 to March 5th, 2000, when the Assembly Secretariat moved from the Adil Shah Palace to
New Complex,
Purvari, March 5th, 2000. So for that entire period, all the records that were there in Adil Shah Palace have been destroyed. That is what the CM said. Namrata Ulman says no, that is not true, and we found out from our own sources, and we've done our own investigation, that all these records are there, and they are there in voluminous books. They are not all digitized, but they're in voluminous books. 1963 to 2000, they have already been digitized.
Yeah.
I think from, if I'm not mistaken, from 2014 to 2022 are almost digitized, in the process of being digitized,
Yeah.
which is the gap. The gap is between 2000 and 2007 and 8, if I'm not mistaken, around the same time.
Okay.
That is a gap. Now, that project is also being taken up for digitization.
Hmm.
The documents are all preserved. They are preserved in voluminous books in the record room of the assembly.
Yeah.
The audio, the videos are also preserved. There is a slight problem with the cassettes, because in the olden days, if you remember, during
Yeah.
our younger days, we used to play cassettes.
Yeah.
Our people of our vintage will know it.
Yeah.
Younger people will not know it. Now, those cassettes, what happens? Those spools get worn out a little bit.
Yeah.
So, in that case, those can be kind of repaired and retrieved. Some may be lost. I'm not saying it, but
Yeah.
that, again, All India Radio might have a backup, so they can give it. So, I don't think it's a loss. So, one wonders what was the need to create this panic, unless the CM knows something that we don't know.
Yeah.
Unless we speak to the CM and unless he clarifies, we will not know whether we can't say that he deliberately went wrong, or why did he go wrong. These are questions that come to our mind, but I think it's important for us to give an opportunity to the CM to respond. The CM, even though the reporters asked him repeatedly yesterday, he evaded the question. Maybe he was busy, he could not, but at this point of time, let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
But I think the CM, with all due respect, owes some kind of a clarification to the people. That's all.
Now, I'll just make a small point.
Yes.
Having done research at the legislature,
Yes.
there was a period where some of the debates were typed on a typewriter with that thin paper.
Right.
That also, I mean, they must have not thought about the preservation aspect of it. Now, I remember when I went to do research, especially on the part when Shashikala Kakodkar was the chief minister.
Right.
They were printing these debates. And what happened at that point of time was, they used to send it to Banastari for printing.
I see.
And those particular, I think about 2 years debates was sent to the printer.
Right.
And then they have these small bureaucratic issues that they didn't have funds to pay for that.
Is it? Okay.
And I was informed by the staff, because they would not come on record because they are government servants. Some of the staff which was there at that time said that the printer refused to return the debates because his payments were not made.
I see. But has it been recovered now?
I'm not sure.
But this is only for a one particular period.
About 2 years or so.
So it will be very important for us to find out what happened to those.
Yeah.
Did the printer ultimately return?
And if I'm not mistaken, the printer is Harlankar printers of Banastari.
Okay.
So one needs to see, and this is an appeal for those who are watching the program, that this part of data needs to be recovered if it is not there in the legislature.
The very, very, very important input, yes.
Okay. Then on 20th of June itself, that is Tuesday, Herald had done a beautiful story with regard to the coastal police. With no working patrol boats, coastal police have no chance against LED trawlers. And this is a festering issue which has been going on, and we have done a number of stories on this, including Herald TV has done stories.
Yeah, see, in 2013 or 14, about 10 patrol boats were bought. Okay. Out of those 10 patrol boats, 6 were deployed in South Goa, in the coastal police stations. 4 were deployed in North Goa. South Goa has three coastal police stations. 3 coastal police stations. Okay. North Goa has others. 2 boats were allotted to each of the 3 coastal police stations. Now, if you go there, and so for instance, Betul is the biggest one. If you go to Betul, the 2 patrol boats are lying completely abandoned, and we have a picture on the paper.
Yeah.
They are lying completely abandoned. The same, I think, is the case with Talpon and one more. All the 3. So the issue is that when you are buying these boats and spending so much of money on them, why are these patrol boats lying there completely in a state of abject disrepair? And they've not been repaired, though letters and letters have gone from the coastal police to the government to pay for it. Now, if you do not have high speed, they are not even high speed patrol boats, they are just
patrol boats.
The demand is firstly to repair them, secondly to have high speed patrol boats. You have neither.
Yeah.
So when a LED trawler comes, a rogue trawler comes in with proper LED lights and very powerful, comes in, catches our fish, draws the fish out and goes, the police don't even have the boat to chase them. What do? They call up local fishermen who have, somehow they have speedboats.
Yeah.
Like Pele in Benoli.
Yeah.
Now, but that Pele's boat also has its limitations. Now, suppose a trawler comes from Karnataka, uses the LED light, draws all the fish and takes it and run away. a borrowed boat from Pele with the coastal police sitting on a borrowed private boat chasing those LED guys will go only up to a point, because beyond the high seas they don't have the capacity to even go.
Yeah.
So it is absolutely a mockery of coastal policing in the manner that it is now. I'll mention one more point. It is not only the LED trawlers of outside states. There are LED trawlers by Goan fishermen also who are also culprits. And the issue is, since they are Goan fishing trawlers, they are also powerful people backed by politicians, and the coastal police and the others do not touch them in the manner that they should. So that is also something that needs to be looked at. But by and large, we cannot catch any of these rogue trawlers coming with powerful lights, entering into our waters, taking the fish eggs away during the breeding season, unless we get a proper patrolling boats to catch these guys.
Okay, and our last story for this program is June 29th, that is Wednesday, that is today, the day we are shooting this program. And this has to do with the Panchayat elections.
Yes.
And the High Court judgment which says that monsoons cannot be an excuse for defying constitutional mandate.
See, this issue of conducting Panchayat elections is something that has been doing the rounds here. The state government, for some inexplicable reason, though the purported reason is that they initially wanted the reservations to the wards, OBC reservations to be finalized, so that a certain number of seats could be allotted to OBCs. That's one. So, and then they turned around and said no. They took advantage of a Supreme Court or a High Court decision in Maharashtra, I think, and they turned around and said that no, the High Court has said that if there are exigencies and if there are monsoons, you can, under special cases, postpone it. But that completely goes against the constitutional mandate that Panchayat elections cannot be postponed even a day after their term has ended.
Yeah.
And I think the Goa government did not very seriously take it. They did not issue the notification which would enable the State Election Commission to announce the elections.
And generally the preparations are held at least 6 months in advance before the term expires.
If you knew that you have to reserve the wards, then why were you waiting till 2 or 3 weeks or 1 month before the elections to say that we need to reserve the wards? Yeah. And then you say we cannot reserve the wards and we cannot. So these are just excuses, and the High Court has very clearly used the word excuses. I think the government was just not prepared to go ahead and do the elections now. They wanted a little more time. They wanted the old panchayats to hang around. Every panchayat needs to do certain deals. Those deals needed to be done.
Yeah.
And unless those deals are done, they wanted a foolproof mechanism. There was a lot of unfinished business. Let's use that word. Yeah. Deal may sound a little too hard. Let me use a more polite term. Unfinished business that they had to do. Unless that unfinished business was done, the state didn't want to go ahead with elections. But right now, we are glad that the court has stepped in, and we hope elections happen.
So today, the Goa government has made an application before the High Court that they would require an extra 30 days. And the latest is that we have the High Court has reserved its order on the application.
So did they say extra 30 days over and above the 45 days they were given to them? So that's 75 days.
Yeah.
Which means 2 months.
Yeah.
See what happens, we are in July, August, September. In September, the monsoons will still not get over. What I don't understand is, first you don't hold the elections saying that the monsoons will be an impediment. Now that the court has stepped in, you are still asking for time, but you are ready to do it in the peak of the monsoons even then.
Yeah.
So ultimately these are just excuses. I don't think they need so much of time. Then you just get their act together and start doing the elections.
Okay. So that's all that we have in this week of the week that was. I thank my guest, Mr. Sujay Gupta, Group Editor of Herald Publications.
Thank you.
We hope that you enjoyed this program. Keep watching Herald TV.